Welcome to the Better, Stronger, Faster podcast with your host, Umar Hamid. This is where leaders from the world of business and self-development show you how to get better results in your professional and personal life. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the No Limit Selling podcast. Today we have some mavericks with us today. We got Mike and Dionne, and it's all about how do we create real estate brokerages and franchises where people achieve their full potential and live full, meaningful lives. And welcome to the program.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Umar. We're excited to be here.
I'm very excited. I love what you're doing, so I'm excited to hear from you as well.
So Dionne, why don't we let you kick it off? One of the people I interviewed on the podcast, this gentleman is like a beast, and he does 500 transactions a year, and he just has admins, no other realtors. And that is like every second counts and totally focused. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people that maybe do one transaction a year because someone felt sorry for them. Mm-hmm. And so could you describe, Dionne, from your point of view, what would be, not for everybody, but what would be a good life for a realtor where they've got a good career and a good family life? Like, what does that look like? Is that possible? And if it is, could you define it? Then we'll get Mike to do that.
Okay. Well, I do believe it's absolutely possible to do that. Realtors come into it because they see something maybe on TV and it looks so exciting. I want to sell houses, not realizing the amount of work there is. I think when they go into it with an entrepreneurial different, like they're entrepreneurs. They come in and say, I want to start a business in real estate versus I want to work for a company. I think that right there, that immediate shift changes how they do business. So the average real estate agent in the United States sells 8 to 12 houses. So in some areas, 8 to 12 houses, you can make a good living. In our area, the average sell price is lower, so that's not enough. So they can make a good, maybe good living, but not great. You sell 20 to 30 houses. Now that's a total difference. And I think the mindset shift happens to them when they do look at it as a business versus, hey, I'm going to work with this company. They're going to hand me some leads and I'm going to just do my business that way. Where instead of I'm going to build my company inside of a real estate model because you have to do that in the state of Pennsylvania. And I'm going to learn how to get my own leads, build my database, do the things I need to do every single day. So I think that's the shift difference is entrepreneurial versus I work for a company.
Absolutely. And Mike, how would you define it?
I 100% believe it's achievable to have the work-life balance and have an amazing career in real estate. And me and Dionne believe in it so much, we're actually launching a coaching program to help individuals that might think about a career shift, get into real estate because we know the potential. We know the mindsets that we want to, help these aspiring agents, dive into to achieve that success. So you mentioned that guy who did 500 transactions a year. Our top agent's a full-time state cop and did 130 transactions. So
wow, that's
he has
amazing.
A full-time job and also is killing it and is one of the top agents in the whole state of Pennsylvania because he has the balance. And you have to have the right mindset, have the right mentors and coaches and guides. And it comes down to time blocking and really setting the priorities. I just got off a call with 6 of our agents working through mission statements and characteristics and actions to help achieve, 3 goals. And a lot of it is based on putting them in the right priorities and ranking them in orders of importance. So many agents I see in the office that start the lead gen, the phone rings, somebody wants to see a house, they're running out the door. Now they abandon the lead generation. The house is not a go for that buyer. And now the whole morning's gone, they have accomplished nothing. So you definitely can have that work-life balance to be a successful agent. That I think a lot's defined by, the individual themselves of what they want to achieve. Is it, to take their lifestyle to the next level? Is it just to maintain where they are because of some other, shift or change in their previous occupation? So I think that's really subjective to each individual agent, but with the right mindset, work ethic, coachability, mentor, guide, and you can definitely achieve massive, awesome success and have a great lifestyle.
Absolutely. I want to go back to our gentleman who's a cop that does 100 and some odd transactions. Does it go something like this? Officer, what did you stop me? Well,
Yes.
do you want a ticket or do you want to sell your house or give me a referral?
I mean, I think that his probably
Two
have
referrals.
I really believe that. He's a great human being, and I think being a police officer has definitely helped him, but he's also in the public relations so everyone sees him on TV. So he's a star.
Well, that
we
helps
also
too.
so we also have another agent that closes as many closings as he does, and he doesn't have a full-time job, but he doesn't have that celebrity either. But they're just crushing it. Like 500 to me, it's amazing with just a team of admin, right?
Wow.
That's unbelievable. I think if I'd like to meet him.
Yeah.
You mentioned that's kind of funny. Like, when he pulls them over, does he talk about selling houses? But the fact both of those guys is no matter who they're speaking to, within the first 30 seconds of any conversation introduction, they know their real estate agent. They're asking them if there's anybody they can help or assist in buying or selling a house. So they immediately turn every conversation introduction into a real estate conversation.
So, I mean, that's one of the things. Here's where mindset comes in. So one of my clients and somebody that was on the show, she was rookie of the year, and her strategy was drinking coffee. And what she would do is she would go into a coffee shop and she's just chatting, as you're waiting in line. Hey, how's it going? What are you doing today? What do you do? Then it's like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a realtor. Really? We've got a beach property that we need help with. And she just had conversations and not forcing herself on anyone, but just bumping into people and became rookie of the year. So I think that in itself, to you, you guys and I, is like, oh, that's super easy to do. But for a lot of realtors, it's like, oh, no. I could not do that to a stranger. They'll think I'm pushy or needy. And it's that head stuff that gets in the way, right?
Sure.
So, Mike, can you give me a story? You don't have to name names of just someone that was like that you helped coach. So they actually got out of that self-conscious behavior and went, oh, yeah, I'm actually doing a disservice when I don't tell people what I do.
Well, I think Dionne probably, the example will come to her mind too, is one of her agents, and she won't mind. Her name's Lucia. She was 100% the most frightened individual about getting on video and seeing herself on video and just putting herself out there. She was petrified. Just the fear paralyzed her from ever doing it. And we just constantly kept harping on, if you're not on video, you're going to be left in the dust. People need to know you, meet you, see you, because you're a beautiful person. You're a wonderful agent. You need, like I said, doing a disservice by not letting people know who you are. So the first couple of videos, she would get on there and she would take 2 hours to do a 30-second clip because she would rewatch it and reshoot it and make up and just everything had to be perfect. Within a few months of just the consistency and practice, she will now go live. You can stop her in the office. She has no problem getting on video, and her business has excelled because people are getting to know her, and that fear is gone. And she's getting out, putting herself out there, and she's now really awesome on video. But it's just taking that first step, that first leap of faith, and getting over those fears, because the success is on the other side of that. In that sense, it's on that mindset. You can do it. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be perfect at first, but that first step is the hardest.
Two things come up before we go to Dionne to get an example. One is the leader's job is very much to lend your trust and confidence in that person you're leading that gives them the ability to go, okay, Mike, this is horrible, but I'm going to try it. Is if it wasn't for the leader having that relationship, that would be 100 times more difficult thing to do. And I also believe in your God-given right. Here's my magic wand. Your God-given right to suck. And people think, what? It's like, if you go and make something and you're like, okay, I've got the right to suck, that you go in and you're going to do a half decent job. And the 8th time that you do, you're going to be way better. But if you go into this has to be perfect, it's such a daunting thing to do. And so one of the things I preach is, you have the right to suck. Go do it. And Mike, Dionne, if I got Dionne to do something she's not done before, and Dionne had the right to suck, just the woman that she is, she's going to do a pretty decent job. Maybe she'll get a C grade out of it, but the 3rd time she does it is going to be a B+ or an A. But giving ourselves permission to go do it is so important. Dionne, do you have an example of an agent you were leading that was kind of holding back and you helped them get over that hesitation, so they got to the other side, and now they shine?
I actually think that happens a lot here, and we constantly are helping them with their mindset. And I can think of an agent who started, she was doing multi-level marketing and decided to get a real estate license, joined our company immediately. And she's pretty much been along my side the whole way. And I have been doing a mastermind, a Think and Grow Rich mastermind, and she's been in it. So I've watched her grow, and she's having the best year of her career. She shows up every week. She's doing it, and she has bad days. Like a couple of months ago, her son had to have surgery, and we talked about it. And she was a little bit down, but I forced her to get to the other side of it, and she did. Therefore, his surgery went great. Everything went great, and she shifted. So she stayed in there for a little while, and it's okay to be there for a small amount of time, but don't let it define you. And that's what I tell her all the time. Don't let it define you. She does everything that we say. She's like out there. She's doing it. If I go to a networking event, she goes to a networking event. Like, she is doing it, and it shows. It's working. So, we work together, and a lot of agents, even though we offer this, they don't always come to us, but we do have a really good ability to help them get to the other side.
And I love I love what you said about you have the right to suck. That's so true. And I'm sure Dionne's mind was going, possibly thinking, because yesterday I did the first kind of workshop through a whole new curriculum, and it sucked. And Dionne probably but I did it because I know the third time it's going to be exceptional, and it's already better. I knew what I needed to make changes. And agents see us sucking, and I said, thank you guys. You were my guinea pigs for the first session of me presenting this. That's how I'm going to get better. So they see.
What's interesting is this to me, Mike, is that when you're out of the room and we have a chance to interview those agents in private individually, like, what rating would you give Mike? I suspect it's going to be like in the B's and the A's, somewhere in there. And then yet we have this illusion of, oh my God, I was a D. And when the reality is no one else knew it. And so one of the things that I like to teach people is what is the universe? What is God trying to teach me through this event? And sometimes, once in a while, Dionne, I do something amazing and I'm spectacular. But even when I do something spectacular, I ask the question, what is the lesson I need to learn here? Because most people don't do that. But 100% for sure, when something goes really wrong, it's like, okay, what is the lesson I'm supposed to learn here? And what's magical is once you get that lesson, and if you can't get it, I can go to Mike and say, hey, Mike, you're my coach. This is what happened. I can't figure out what the lesson is. Mike's going to be able to go, maybe the lesson is this. And once you get that lesson, it's like, okay. And then we don't repeat that same mistake ever again. We learn from it and move on. And so when we don't learn it, we keep on repeating the mistakes over and over again. And so what would be one lesson that you'd like to share, Dionne, that could be something similar to that if agents and other mere mortals use that insight, it would make their lives better and richer?
I believe the most important thing that you've said, and I believe, is there's always something good in everything that's bad. Right?
Absolutely.
So, Mike knows I've been going through a really hard time. My father passed away, and it's very difficult. But I've learned so many lessons in the last 10 months that have pushed me through to the other side. And it is beautiful on the other side. So if you can just look at every, dip in the market, every deal that falls through, every negative that's coming at us, because real estate is not easy like it looks on TV. It's not easy. If you can look at that and push through it, might take a while, but once you get to the other side, it's just amazing. So that's what, that's what I felt.
Thank you for sharing that. How about you, Mike? Well, what wisdom do you have to share?
Just echoing with Dionne is every failure is an opportunity to get better and learn from. And even when things, I just had this conversation with an agent on the call yesterday. Just what we don't do enough of is reflecting on the entire process from start to finish when we're dealing with a client, because it might went smooth, but I think there's still, even we get into the routine of it, and things that are routine to us and seem to be going along smooth, we don't sometimes always know what the buyer or seller is going through or what questions they may have. And we just talked to another agent because, well, I have a text message, no matter what that I touch base with the client every other day to say, hey, everything's going good on my end, anything you need. Because we don't know what thoughts they're having or what kind of stresses they might be going under, because to us, the title's working, the mortgage is getting, put in place, and it's all smooth sailing, but we don't know what they're thinking. So, so just every bad experience has a lesson, and even the good ones, if we just take time to reflect, and we always can constantly improve. I think if you just keep striving for excellence and realizing there's no finish line is a great mindset to have, that is going to propel our career and just our relationships and experiences that we're giving our clients throughout the whole process.
Absolutely. Two things kind of come up. One is what Dionne mentioned is it's that journey, and you go through the hardships, and you can go through the hardship to get to the other side, and you realize I'm tougher than I thought. But if you can take some introspection to go, okay, that journey, that toughness, what did I learn from that? What was the value in that? Just like you said, Mike, it's like, that's where the learning is. That's where the magic is. That's what you remember when you make it to the top, wherever that is for you. We certainly remember the wins, but it's like you sometimes hear a couple saying, you remember that first studio apartment?
Yeah.
With the paper thin walls and how awful it was. And it's not like we remember it with like it was tragic. It's like we remember with fondness. It's like that's where we started. So
I have something on that. So I was on a podcast interview a couple of weeks ago, and I remember I talked to him earlier, and he said, write down all the things that happened in your life. So I pulled out this old document that I had, and I started
love it.
Training, right? So I started writing it down. I had like 2 pages filled with notes. And I sat there and looked at it. I was like, oh my gosh, I've pushed through so much.
Yeah.
There's so many stories inside of there that some people don't even know. Mike doesn't know half of them. And I think I did it. I'm on the other side of all of that. And there's a reason that I went through it, so that I could help others go through it too. So
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I just wanted to.
So here's my tip for our listeners and viewers. By the way, if you're enjoying this interview, reach out to these 2 guys and subscribe to the podcast. So I think it is so critical, whether you're a parent or you're leading a team of realtors or school kids, setting expectations is so critical. Saying, okay, this is what the process is going to be like, dear home seller, that there's going to be a time where fear comes up, doubt comes up, where you're going to think, you don't know what I'm doing. That's perfectly normal, but that's the time you need to reach out. Or setting those expectations are so important. And a lot of realtors like, well, I don't want to talk about the bad stuff because, we want to make sure they think it's all going to work out well. But when you do that, you instill confidence in the process and confidence in you. So setting expectations as a parent or a realtor, or the State of the Union when we elect our new president, that is going to be the expectations of what's happening in the next year. So, Mike, I'll go with you this time. What's another tip you'd like to share with our listeners and viewers?
I think that you're tougher and stronger and can accomplish more than you realize. You are your hardest critic. Like you said, when we asked those agents what they thought my presentation was, it might be a B. I gave myself a D. I got through it, so I got a D. So it's okay to be your hardest critic, but seek input, seek advice, seek guidance from those that have achieved what you're trying to achieve already. You can't do it alone. And so many times, I was a chiropractor before I became a real estate agent and brokerage owner, and I didn't value coaching. I didn't value, going to my peers or colleagues and asking for advice, because I was hard-headed and I thought I knew it all and I could do it on my own. And, in hindsight, I would have been exponentially farther ahead if I just would have reached out. And people actually, and I had colleagues and other chiropractors reach out to me and offer assistance without even me looking for it, that I turned down. So my advice is, don't be hard-headed like me. You can't go at it alone. There are more people out there willing to help you than you could even ever imagine. So ask for the help and be open to it.
I love that, because one of the things that's kind of interesting is this is a lesson I learned when I was like 16 or 17, like say Dionne gave me a gift, which you should do, Dionne, by the way. And I would go, no, Dionne, you shouldn't have. No, it's too much. And someone took me aside and said, Umar, when someone offers you something,
Take it.
just say thank you.
Thank you.
Do not take away the joy of giving. And when we ask for help in the coaching realm, or someone that way ahead in the industry than us, we're doing them a favor because they get to kind of give back, and it's really important. Dionne, what's a tip you'd like to share? Then we'll kind of go deep into real estate and mindset.
So for me, my favorite part of Think and Grow Rich and the studying that I'm doing is seek expert counsel, which Mike said. And I have one story that's really cool. So in 2006, when The Secret came out and I watched it, the visual adaptation of it versus reading the book, it affected me. I'm a creative person, so I really loved it. And in the last couple of months, one of the people that were in that movie is now coaching me.
I love it.
Yeah, he's Dr. Joe Vitale, and he's amazing. And so you do want to seek expert counsel, no matter how far you feel you're away from that person. People love to help. They genuinely just love to help. So it doesn't hurt to ask. And I always tell everyone the most important 3-letter word in the English language is ask.
Yeah.
You never know until you ask, right? It's 3 letters. Just do it.
Writing that down now. Love that. That's actually so important. And one of the things that's really sad in our society, especially corporate America, is like, if I ask, I show weakness.
No way.
Where true leaders show strength is like, hey, is there a better way to do that? What are you seeing? You're on the front lines. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing up here? So one of the things you said when we started this conversation, Dionne, is a lot of people come in and they have this sense of entrepreneurship coming into this industry. But a lot of people come into this industry is like, oh, I can set my own hours.
Yeah.
And they don't have the discipline to do the work they need to do, because the true leaders in this industry that I know that have more referrals than they could ever possibly need are still prospecting for 2 reasons. Number 1, they like it and it grew their business. Number 2, they model that behavior to the people that they lead. So how do we get people that come into the industry, even though they claim, I'm looking for this entrepreneurial journey, to really get them to realize is that the work of being a realtor is not handing the keys over to someone. That is the candy. That's the dessert. The work is getting clients. The work is bringing all the sometimes warring parties together to find a solution where we can actually get this deal over the finish line. So how do we get that work ethic instilled in people so they don't basically think everything's going to be easy because starting on TV, it looks it? How do we get them to get that reality check and love that hard work that leads to that success?
I honestly don't think that we do. I think there's still a huge percentage that no matter what you say or do, they're not going to listen. So they want to do it their own way, right? They believe that they can do it. They sold 2 houses and all of a sudden they're an expert. And there is a lot to be done in a real estate transaction. There's a lot of pieces and parts. So I don't think, as much as I wished I could affect every single person, I've offered myself and Mike too, to 200 people, and we still get the same 20, 30 people that take us up on that offer. So I just don't know I don't know the right answer to tell you, because I just think a lot of people just want to get into real estate because it looks fun, right? It looks fun. Like we're always out partying, we're having fun, but the hard work side of it is truly hard work. And database and, client, dealing with clients. And there's so many pieces to this life. It can be great, but it also requires a lot of hard work. And one thing that I do say a lot is if a real estate agent actually put in a 40-hour work week, they could list or sell a house every single week. I guarantee it if they did it. But they don't, because they're independent contractors and they can go do what they want to do and they can get their hair done and go to take the kids to the pool and they can do all of these things. But if they clocked 40 hours, I guarantee they would do it.
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Mike, thoughts?
It comes down to, is putting effort in. It's a job. People don't realize, again, how hard it can be to prospect, to lead gen. And if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone and do the things that are going to move the needle, you aren't going to be successful. Yes, you can have the occasional cousin or friend or family member of your sphere of influence who will just list with you because they feel like they're throwing you a bone or whatever. But that's not growing a business or a career, So if you're not willing to time block and put the effort in and have those non-negotiables, it's going to be a struggle. And I see so many agents that are just on a roller coaster. Like, they get a couple of transactions, going, and they take their foot off the gas. What caused them to get those transactions? And then once they close, like, oh my God, I have nothing now. So they put their foot back on the gas, and that's exhausting, and I have the conversation. Well, if you would just stay consistent on your social media, on your lead generation, on your follow-up, you wouldn't be in this valley now scrambling to get, more transactions when your next closing is coming. So we had one coach said you're never going to coach people into productivity. It has to be a mindset shift on their own, but we constantly strive to, be there for them, to offer the advice. And it's the 80-20, principle,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we have the ones that swim towards us. And that was one of my favorite, stories Dionne told me. Is she was on a call or something sometime, and they asked the question is, if a boat's sinking and there's 20 people in the water and the Coast Guard can only save 6 people, who are the 6 people they pick to save? And I said, well,
So I'll finish the story. So it was Sully, the guy that went down in the New York Harbor, and he said, what do you do if there's only so many people that can get on the plane? He said, you pick the people that are swimming towards you. And so that's kind of after that. I actually heard that during COVID. He came on a call that I was on a Zoom call when Zoom wasn't as popular.
Right.
And it was incredible because I've lived since then. We've put that into it. If they're swimming towards us, they want the help, we're here. But if they don't, it's okay too. But that's on them, right? If they don't need or want the help, it's okay. But we're here to help in any way we can, and we would bend over backwards to help them. But again, the swimmers.
I mean, I wrote that down too. I love that. So here's how I see the world after working with thousands of folks on the mindset piece. Is that we have a self-image of who we are. We have like 3 faces that we have. We have a face that we show the outside world. Look at me, I'm pretty, I'm amazing, I can do anything. Or we have a face that we show the world, I am broken, I'm a victim, nothing ever goes right. So this is the illusion that we show the outside world. Then we have something I think that is much worse, which is the delusion of who we think we are. And sometimes who we think we are and who we show the world is 2 different things. Then we've got that third space, the authentic who we are. And I think that's what we need to strive towards. When we get there, that is a foundation we can build a life upon. So going back to that financial stuff in terms of people have their foot on the gas and they take it off, a lot of times that's self-worth. And they've got a number inside their head that is, I'm worth $60,000. If you talk to them and they're talking absolutely with congruency as far as they're concerned, oh yeah, I want to earn $200,000 a year. I want to do this. I'm going to do everything it takes. But as soon as they go past a certain threshold, events happen around their world, or they themselves take the foot off the gas, or, oh, my kid, I have to do this with my kid, or do this. Like something happens. The world, like that Think and Grow Rich, a part of that is very much is that we manifest situations to validate our model of the world. So I think that's what we need to do, is to really help people realize who they are and who they really want, and what are the limitations inside their unconscious mind that block them, that stop them from achieving. Because the saddest thing in the world very much is when I see someone with so much capability and they're just not doing it, or they're sabotaging themselves. It's like, can I help you? It's like, no, I got this. And it's like, you do have this, please go on. Because I never put it in the terms of people that swim towards you are the ones that you help first, not trying to help the person that's drowning. Because in lifeguarding, it's like that person, in order to help them, you sometimes have to punch them in the face, because if you don't, they're going to grab a hold of you and drown both of you.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
If
you ever get a chance to read about his story, I think that's interesting in a way just to kind of live your business. I want to help them all, but they have to help themselves.
Yeah, and that's very eye-opening, Amari, is what you just mentioned there. Is I never thought of it that way. Is like I always wondered, like why did you take your foot off the gas? Like, what are you doing? I what is wrong with you? Never thinking, that again, there's some limiting belief that they have. They're self-sabotaging their, success because of something unconscious that they're, haven't worked through. So that was very eye-opening. Thanks for sharing that.
I actually think I'm a victim of that myself. I really do. And I know this stuff, and I can still feel myself pull back to the trailer park.
So sometimes I love that 8 Mile. What I love is just using this as an example. Whether you're a Christian or not, Jesus is going to be someone that was a luminary that we had. Like, if he's having doubts in his last days, like he's at the garden basically deciding, should I stay? If I stay, there's going to be like consequences, or I could just leave and go to another town. If somebody that enlightened is like having these doubts, schleps like you and I, we take the big blocks we can find and remove, but there's always subtle ones that have impacts. So I'm going to share one of my subtle ones because, Dr. Heal Thyself is really hard to do. And so I realized that I had a block that was so deeply entrenched that I couldn't even identify it, but I had an inkling that it was there. And when I finally uncovered it and removed it, this is what happened. If you and I were talking and Dionne said, "What did you do yesterday?" I'd hear the word yesterday and automatically I'd associate it with the Beatles song, Yesterday. And that's where it would end. And since I removed that block, and the block was very much holding myself back in that subtle way, now if you said something about yesterday, I'd go, yesterday, and I'd start singing, even though I can't sing, that it just kind of released something. So we all have a block and we just need to go find those. And I think one of the things that's really sad is people go, "Oh my God, I've got a block and I need to make allowances, or I won't go near this subject of money." Or like some people can ask for referrals from strangers, but can't ask for referrals from their best friends, or vice versa. I can ask friends, but I could never ask a stranger. That what we need to do is celebrate those blocks and go, "Oh my God, I found another block. I can go to Mike or Dionne and say, hey, I got this block. Help me figure out how to handle this." But we're trained to show no weakness. And I just happen to have this sitting on my desk. So I'm just going to use this as a prop, is that we've got this block. And what we realize when we remove the block is something that makes us shine, that was always, that we thought this was damaging, but it's not. When we get to the other side, it lets us shine. And that's what, when we were 2 years old, we were like freaking amazing. If you've got kids, those things are monsters. They'll figure out what they want, which parent to get it from, and they'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. And somewhere along the journey, we forget that. It's like, well, I shouldn't ask.
Yeah. I love that. I think I love that you said celebrate the block. That's enlightening. And the kids, I have 4 kids, and we got back from dinner yesterday, or we were at dinner, and I was just thinking my 6-year-old is, they can get whatever they want. I mean, they know how to work the room in any situation. But I would just sit in awe, just thinking, just would love to be that free, not worrying what other people think of me or of myself, because Penelope's out there on a golf course doing cartwheels and dancing to no music, and there's people all around and she can care less because she's having a ball. That just petrifies me, because I got this, I've got to portray this tough guy or this, this attitude. And it just was an envy of her and her freedom, so I love it. Celebrate the blocks.
That story is making me smile. This is like pretty amazing. So, Dionne, why don't we let you be the podcast host, and why don't you kind of lead Mike and I for a little while?
Dionne's great at this. She's good. Yeah.
So I want to learn about you and what is one thing that you can do to help someone that has a negative block.
So I'll tell you a story that comes to mind. It's a realtor, a commercial real estate, and a friend recommended her to come see me. And she comes in and goes, I hear you're pretty good, and I think I'm stuck in some way. And I said, sometimes where we're stuck is in our unconscious, and one of the things I do is help people figure out what that limiting belief is deep inside your unconscious. She goes, well, I know what it is. I go, oh, like what's going on? She goes, when I was 8 years old till 12, my father started sexually molesting me. And I just realized that he did the same thing to my two daughters in that age bracket. And that has me just shut down. And so A, that's horrific. And
Very.
B, just dear listeners, in a room of 100 people, if I asked them and people were being honest, you'd be flabbergasted how many people have a similar story to that. It's rampant. But for her, the very first thing we do is take care of this one thing. We don't even address what had happened. Is that one part of her psyche knew that she could be great at this and deserves it. But another part of her psyche was, I'm damaged and I don't deserve to have happiness and success. And at a deep unconscious level, those two parts of her mind were fighting each other. So the very first session, we just resolved that conflict, and that freed up a ton of energy. The next session, we resolved the meaning she made out of the molestation, and we changed the meaning of it. So the events happened. They were horrific, but she wasn't. One of the things that I notice is that there is a tether from events in the past that hold us, and we're fighting to move forward with this connection to the past. And Mike, you may have noticed this, that you say something benign to your spouse, and sometimes she responds back with a level of negative energy that is like disproportional to what you did. And what that shows is that some event in the past has that energy, and what you did was some dumb little thing that resonates with that, and the energy came from there. So we removed the meaning, changed the meaning of it. And on the third session, we just gave her permission to be freaking spectacular. And the testimonial that she gave was this, says, Umar, my kids are asking me, Mama, you are right. I'm saying, what do you mean, am I all right? No, Mom, normally you're screaming and yelling at us, and you haven't done that for a month. And for her, just opened up the world, and it freed her from the past. And the reason I share that is that we are all capable of letting go of the past. We just need the right way of doing it. And there's many paths there, but to get there in a way that doesn't take a long time, that we just get to remove it, is why I was put here on earth, to help people do that, to remember that. And if I told the story of somebody being traumatized by something that happened that has a hold of them for 50 years, people go, oh yeah, I believe that totally. I just want you to know we went from feeling like X to Y in a moment. And when I tell that negative story, people go, oh yeah, I get that. I just want people to know that the opposite is true as well. We can go from being a victim to being freed in a moment, because that's how our mind works. Change happens like that. Sometimes it takes longer to get to that change point. But when we get there, it's just like, boom, it's done. And it's like, isn't that amazing? We all have that capability to do that. That excites me every day.
That was
I,
a great
I think I think you're going to have two new clients here, me and Dionne, because we strive for exceptionalism, and we know we all have blocks. And so Umar, like it's like I really don't like. How do you uncover blocks you don't know you have? Like what is the strategy around that? And because I like I said, I envied my daughter Penelope's freedom yesterday to be able to just to be silly and vulnerable. But I don't know what in my past caused that block. It's that I can't do that.
So here's the thing, is that if any of you want to be an opera singer, please lift up your hand. I don't. But let's say, Mike, you think about being an opera singer, and basically your reaction is, but there's some things that you want to do that you're not doing. And when you go to think about doing those, an uncomfortable feeling happens in your body, like anxiety, or an inner voice comes up that basically gets in the way. So that's what I look for. Here's just a pop quiz. The world's fastest reader, how many words a minute do you think they can read with 100% comprehension? The number is colossal. And they use this photo reading technique where they take a snapshot of a page and then flip the next page, and their mind is processing the picture and translating into ideas that they 100% comprehension. It's like 25,000 words a minute, something insane. And what that shows you is that your brain is incredibly powerful. And the best thing that it's designed to do is rationalize. And rationalizing, if you break up the word, is rational lies. that we tell ourselves why we don't want to do what we want to do. And we believe that stuff. No, next year will be a better time to do this. Or, whatever we tell ourselves. But our body never lies. And there's been books written about fear. It's like fear is a greatest gift. So if you go into an area and you get this fear coming up for no reason, listen to it. Do not walk down that thing. Or you meet someone and it's like you get this uneasy feeling. And it's like, no, but they're a banker and they're respected. I'll be fine going out with this person or doing a deal. But your body reacted saying, danger, Will Robinson. So to answer your question, Mike, what I look for is your reaction in your body. They'd say, hey, Umar, I went to do this thing, and this reaction came up. So I'll give you a quick example. It was a salesperson that came in, and he's the number one salesperson for his company. And it's like, what can I do to help you? You're a way better salesperson than me. And he goes, asking for referrals. I don't know what it is, but I can't seem to ask for referrals. When I do, I just feel awkward and it comes out badly, or I don't ask. I said, okay, go to a moment in time where you went to ask someone for a referral. And when you have that moment, let me know. And he goes, oh, I got it. So I take him back to that moment, and he had an uncomfortable feeling right in the center of his chest. And there's a tool you can use from applied neuroscience. Link that feeling to the unconscious mind. When have you felt this feeling before? And we go back to this moment in time. He's in the kitchen with his dad and one of his dad's buddies from work. And the two adults are talking. He's a 7-year-old just playing in the corner. And his dad says to his buddy, real men don't ask for help. And little Paul takes that thought and goes, turns it into a belief. So when he sells something, what he sells is about anywhere from $200,000 to $5 million is security software for large organizations. And he goes, Dionne, that'll be $2 million. Happily, powerfully. You're happy with him. You're happy with the solution. And he can't ask for a referral because as soon as he goes to ask, it brings up that limiting belief that real men don't ask for help. So once we discovered it, we changed it. And for our hero, he calls back and says, Umar, I'm not sure what you did, but I'm asking my best customers for referrals and they want to give back to me. So my year's going to be spectacular this year, but something weird's happening. What's happening that's weird? And he goes, well, cold calling, I always did it, but now I'm starting to enjoy it. And what's happening is in cold calling, the very first thing you do is ask for permission, ask for help. Can I have a moment of your time? It was violating that belief. So the beliefs that we have aren't just a belief. They spiral into different areas of our lives. And so once we take care of one core belief, many areas of our life oftentimes get better. And it's like, wow. So pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Amazing.
So enough about me. How would you describe the culture and how would you invite people? Who are the right people that should come join you on this journey?
So prior to COVID, the culture was unbelievable. We were just flying high. People were so happy. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff. COVID hit, and it took a toll on everyone. But now we're getting back to it. We're doing some events and we're doing some fun things to get the agents, outside again. And even though it's been a couple of years now, it's not like COVID was last year. It's really difficult to get people to get back in a room. Zooms are, incredible. Like I spend sometimes 10 hours a day sitting on a Zoom. So I don't think you can build a culture as easy that way. Now you can still have fun on a Zoom and do all of that, but I think we're okay with the culture right now. I think we have some work to do to build it up and getting in front of people, being present with them. Someone said to me on a podcast the other day, the present is your presence. That present is your present. And I was like, wow, that is so good. Because if we're not there for them and not in their presence, they can never feel the present that we have to give them. So I feel like I think we're good. But what you said something earlier about busting through, and we're at a level of 200 agents. We venture back up to it, we fall back down. We venture back up and we fall back down. We need to bust through that to 300, and something is blocking us. There's a big block here, and I don't know what it is. But I know if it's me, then I need some help figuring it out. I don't know where we're at, but we should be there by now. My mind says we should be at 300. So That's kind of, I mean, I think we're doing a better job than most real estate companies. We definitely are personal with them. I know any person that walks in the door, I know something about their life. I spend time personally texting them, trying to just build that so that we have a relationship. And, Mike has 4 kids. It's different for him. Like he can't take as much time to do that because he has 4 kids running around and they're young. So, I think we have a good balance there that helps a lot. And so we're doing the best we can. And I think, 2 real estate agents that both are former entrepreneurs come together and build a real estate company that does what we said it would do. It gives the agent more money in their pocket, gives them the opportunity to have better lives. That is happening every single day.
Love that.
Yeah,
Mike.
I think the ideal, agent for us is what Dionne hit at the beginning, are the agents with the entrepreneurial mindset and not the employee mindset, and the ones that come in with the mindset that I'm going to be successful because of the person I am, the work I put in, and not from what the company's going to promise me or give me and supply me with, because it is truly your business. When you have that mindset that that you're coachable, that you're swimming towards us, that's why we opened the brokerage. We came together because we loved training people, helping people, pouring out our, expertise and experiences into others that they might, be able to benefit from. So the agent who is open-minded, that want to achieve massive success and put more money in their pocket. We have all the tools, technology, everything else, all the other brokerages offer, but these other brokerages, they I don't know how they do it, but they instill this mindset of you are successful because of the brokerage you're under. And I used the analogy, I said, guys, if you've been in business long enough and have been on listing appointments or dealt with clients, think of a time when you left an appointment and that seller goes, "Oh, by the way, Mike, what company are you with again?" Because they're connecting with you, which the value you bring, what you're offering, not the company's name that's ahead of you in this day and age. Again, years ago when it wasn't all the technology and all the listings weren't online and there was exclusive listings with different brokerages, that made a difference. Now the agents are successful because of their character, their work ethic, the value they're bringing, and the expertise that they're offering, not because they're with Realty One Group. I feel we have the most amazing support, that we're going to keep agents legal, help them get through challenges. With our broker of record, who's an attorney with me and Dionne's experience, I feel we're going to be great guides for them and help, get through some of the roadblocks and bumps in the roads easier than a lot of other brokerages. But truly, we want that agent that realizes, success ultimately is in our hands, and we want them to, achieve it.
Love that. Here's a profession that tend to make really good realtors, at least what I've seen. I'd love to get your take on what's the best profession coming into this space. That people that were waiters and waitresses sometimes make really, really good agents because they have that dealing with customers thing down pat. They work their butts off because this is a tough gig doing that. And if they're inspired right, they can be like rock stars in this industry.
Right.
Any other industries you think would be good areas to kind of find good agents?
I think teachers and police officers are really good. They're structured, right? They know how to get up and get to an appointment at a certain time, get to school. They have a structure and they have a lot of people that they know. Their database is very big because they've impacted so many people in their career. So I think those are 2 really good ones. What else, Mike? I think nurses. Nurses are great. Yeah, coming out of nursing because they're used to the hard work. And they come in and they put it right into real estate. And I've seen so many nurses become more successful than doctors they used to work for.
Yep. And, I was a previous chiropractor, that got into real estate. And I'm actually, one of my niches I'm, putting a coaching program together for is chiropractors who want to get into real estate part-time or full-time, because they're diagnostic. They can diagnose problems. They solve problems. They're really, again, they're salesmen. They're sales focused, selling care plans, and they're usually good lead generators, because building a chiropractic practice up in a saturated area with chiropractors sometimes on every street corner takes a lot of lead generation, a lot of getting out there and doing screenings, health screenings. And if you're comfortable doing that, you're going to not be afraid to door knock. And that's how I built my business in real estate. I was the one guy going out there door knocking expires for sale by owners, because I was the guy who used to set up at the the home show with the health screening booth trying to get chiropractic patients. So I was, used to putting myself out there. So I think they make a great, transition in the real estate. Any service industry, like you mentioned, do well.
And I would think chiropractors, if they just put a shingle up at the chiropractic office, that they'd probably start getting kickstart their real estate career probably pretty easily.
That's a big component of it. Is again, like Dionne mentioned, they have a great sphere of influence database, past clients. They already put their trust. I mean, if somebody can put their trust in like laying your head in your hands to give them adjustment, you already got that trust level built with them to be able, if you should be able to, help guide them on a home buying or selling process. So absolutely.
Okay, as we close this podcast down, which has been fabulous, by the way, really enjoyed this conversation. I've got two last questions for you. So, Mike, I'll start with you. The two questions are this. What's a book you'd recommend that our listeners and viewers pick up? And what's your prediction, not just in real estate, but just what's your prediction for America in 2025? Where do you think we're going to be?
Books. Oh, me and Dionne both are we read tons of books, and I got so many, that I love. But I think one that really impacted me was the the 5 a.m. Club. I really love Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. Club. Just, getting up and, and just even like the Miracle Morning, just how much time, we waste in the morning. We can be productive with exercise, mindset, prayer, meditation, whatever it may be, to really set your day up right. So there's numerous different books. Doesn't have to be that one. It doesn't have to be 5 a.m. If you're used to getting up at 7, getting up at 6 is going to be a game changer. So I think that's a great book. I think everybody could benefit from. And my prediction for 2025 is, I'm a very faithful man, and I believe, God's ultimately always in control, and I think, I'm hopeful for an amazing 2025. And I think in real estate, and not to get back to that, but I think, right now, I think it's a really exciting time with the NAR changes to view it, again, reshape your mindset of, again, this is an opportunity. There's going to be so many agents who are operating out of fear, going to be out of business. Now it's time to excel your business, excel your expertise, show the public what you offer, and take your business to the next level, because any change is a huge opportunity for improvement and growth. So I think that, encompassing with, my faith in the future, it's exciting time. It's exciting time to be real estate and to get into real estate.
Love that. Dionne.
So I'm looking for something that I wanted to share. So Think and Grow Rich, of course, I'm going to say that because I study it all the time, and I realize the success principles in it. There is the secret to success in there. You just have to look for it. Everybody will find it. They just have to continually look for it. One of my friends has read it 161 times.
Wow.
And he literally has the largest car dealership in the Pittsburgh region. He went from bankruptcy imminent to building his life back because of Think and Grow Rich. I give it to everyone when I go to graduation. I give it to the kids. I believe that it should be started in a junior high level. Kids should understand principles of success and how to build a life. So one thing one of that same friend said yesterday, and I think it's really important, it says, do simple first. 10 pages every single day is 11 readings of Think and Grow Rich per year.
Love that.
Not good? So that's for me. If anybody takes anything away, run and get that book and start reading it. And if you do 10 pages every day, that's it, 10.
And your prediction for 2025?
Well, I always live in the positive side, and I don't really watch the news until there's something really
smart for you.
Happened a couple weeks ago. Of course, I was watching the news that day, but most times I don't, and I don't live in it because I just personally can't change it. I cannot by myself change it, so I'm not going to live in all of that negativity. It's just too much. So my prediction is always on the sunny side. I hope for the best. I want there to be an amazing real estate market, but I also want people just to be better and kinder and more love for each other. If that can happen in 2025, the whole year will be a success. Now, I know one thing. If you believe in yourself, that's going to be the first thing you have to do. Believe in you. Start working every day towards a positive mindset. Have affirmations. Like I was going to pull something out that I showed you. I worked on this in January, like going through, the tragedy of losing my father and the grief. I put together my vivid vision, which is an amazing tool versus just having a dream board. You actually put the words to it, and then now I get to feel it because I made it into a book. This is what I focus my life on now. This is where I want to be in 3 years. So, you have to have a roadmap, right? If you just get in the car and start driving, you're not going to get it where you want to go because you don't know where to go.
So did you create that, or was this an online?
So I actually worked with a coach, and he helped me to, come up with it, and we coached together, and then I did it all through in Canva. So I'm actually thinking about creating this as a product that I can sell to.
I think you should. I think there'll be a huge audience for that.
Yeah, I do too. And, dream boards are great. I have the dream boards, but this actually did something to me internally, and looking at a dream board and visualizing, that's great. But this actually put the power in the words.
So I'll share two last things with you that came from you guys chatting. I just finished reading this book. It's about prosperity. There was this one line in it that I really like. It's you cannot outgive God.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's and I'll add my favorite person in the entire world is my wife. Actually, we're going to be celebrating our first year anniversary coming up August 18th.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so this is one of the things that she truly believes. She believes that she's the custodian of the money she gets.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's very much.
It was a little book. It was a thin book about tithing. Is that the same book?
No, this was a prosperity. I'll put a link in the show notes and send it out to you guys personally.
Okay.
But what she believes is that she helps a lot of people, is that I make a lot of money so I can help a lot of people. So it's not my money. I'm just the custodian for it. And I think that's one of the things that allows her to be so successful, is that mentality that, so anyway, there's wisdom everywhere out there. And I learned a lot in this episode. I'll be looking at the transcript to get notes on the things that I missed. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Thank you for having us. It was truly enlightening. I learned a lot and really enjoyed it. Really did.
And Dionne, thank you so much for being on the show. It was a joy and a pleasure.
Thank you. And I want to say one last thing real quickly is I said the most important word and the most important 3-letter word. I meant the most powerful 3-letter word in English language. That's what I always say. I just missed it. I wanted to make sure I cleared that up because it's so powerful.
Well, that's another show. And thank you for listening.
Ask you about that.
Okay. If you like this episode, please share it with your network so we can spread the wisdom. Hey everyone,
join me next time for another jolt of wisdom
others
at the Better, Stronger, Faster podcast.
Worst case, you can get truly inspired, and best case, you'll start a new career.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Have a great one.